Hey guys, what's going on? Mark Lubinski here again. Just doing a video real quick on how to find contractors um, away from where you currently live. So if you're doing long distance real estate, this is one of the ways that I find contractors. There are two major ways that I personally find contractors, and usually I do one of two things. I will either go on Angie's List or Angie, and I'll type in the address in which I'm looking for, and I'll look for a contractor that does work in this area, usually full remodels, because I want a GC to kind of oversee the project management of a remodel, especially if I'm flipping or doing a remodel of a rental. I'm gonna want someone that's like this company that does custom homes, that does design and build services. I'm gonna want someone that does kitchen remodels, like this one, that is comfortable doing facelifts or large remodels, like they say. And so what I'll do is I'll request a quote. I won't necessarily request it on here. I'll Google their information. Once I have their information on Google, I'll call them, and then I'll ask them to come over and give a quote. Once I've gotten a quote, I'll go through the bid or the quote in terms of one of the three things that I'm looking for are the level of services, how they want to get paid, and what their timeline is. Um, that's just for face value. So I want to know how in depth they are in terms of what they say they're going to do on their quote. Are they saying they're just going to replace a toilet, or are they going to specify what specific parts, how many hours in labor it's going to be, how many people they're going to use? Does it have bullet points, or is it just a brief paragraph of the total amount of work they're doing? Basically, do they know how to take what, are they sophisticated, or are they a bunch of idiots? Is basically what I'm looking for. I don't do business with people that don't specifically outline the type of work they do, because it's left up to interpretation in a court of law, and chances are you won't win in a situation like that because a contractor didn't specifically say, and you, as someone hiring the contractor, neglected to specifically outline the type of work that needed to be done. So I look for someone that specifically outlines exactly what they're going to do, line by line. This allows you to insulate your or mitigate your risk when managing a project. So that's, I make sure that they have everything in detail, uh, even the size of couplings they will use, if it's male or female, um, stuff like that. That kind of stuff is very important. And then I look for how many hours is it going to take them per job. What are they outsourcing? What are they insourcing? Um, how many hours is each task expected to take? What are they charging me for each hour of labor? And then what are they charging me for materials? And then I will go on to Home Depot or Lowe's or Liquidator's website, and I will find out if they're actually surcharging me for those materials, or if they're getting them below cost. Once I find that out, then I kind of do my own calculations and determine whether or not they're overpriced or underpriced. And then I'll add an addendum to the contract that says you will not start work until you provide me with your insurance, your license, and your bond number. I will not let you even start work. I don't care how long it takes you to get it to me. If you don't get it to me within 48 hours, I'm not going to give you a job, point blank, period. But if you don't get me your license, bond, and insurance information, um, then you're not a legitimate business, at least in the contracting industry, and I'm not going to do business with you, point blank, period. I've had people steal money from me. That's partly why I ended up going through bankruptcy, because I neglected to get those things on one project. And the one time I didn't do it, I got screwed over. So anytime I do business with a contractor, I make sure that I have, again, their licensed bond and insurance information, and I verify that it's all current. They've made their license, they've kept their license current, active, and there's no negative remarks on it. their bond is paid up to date, and their insurance information is currently in effect and valid and active, and they haven't missed any payments. I also ask if they have any claims on their insurance information, and if they do, I find out why or what for and how they're handling it. And if they don't, well, good for them. They've got my business. Once I have that information, I like to add myself in as an additional insured, and I like to figure out how they're compensating their employees, and then whether or not I or the company that's contracting their employees is paying for workers' comp, because I'm not going to pay for your workers' comp. I'm not going to insure your business. It's not my job to insure your businesses or your employees. So I like to find out how you're taking care of workers' comp for your employees, and if they get hurt on my site, I'm not paying for their issues because it's your fault, it's your business, and you can manage it. Additionally, once I have all that information, then I'll counter their bid and explain, and then I'll ask how they expect to get paid. Usually, I've seen it in quarters or in jobs or in whatever. The way I like to do things is I won't pay you until you've completed demo. Demo is not a very difficult thing. You have the tools to do the demo. It usually takes 3 to 4 days tops to completely tear apart a home. Um, that's like 1,500 square feet. So I'm not going to pay you to do something I can do by myself. I can put holes through walls. It's not hard. So once you've completed your demo, I'll pay you, the same way I will get paid, which is in draws, and you'll receive it directly from the bank, not me. I'm not going to be the median man to pay you. You'll get it directly from my hard money lender, or however your receipt, however, we're deciding to do the wire transfer, and whoever's handling the renovation costs. It's not me. I mean, I do have the pro forma and all of that stuff created, but I'm not going to pay you directly. You can get that directly from my bank. Sorry. That's just how I've managed to run my business, and it's the best way to insulate the risk. If you're receiving it directly from the bank, well, if you decide to take off with the money, I'm not at fault. And I'm not going to give you half up front. I'm not even going to give you a quarter. I'm going to give you each job individually for everything you complete. And we're going to sit down and we're going to break down every ounce of cost. So if you say that it's going to cost you $3,000 to redo an entire housing's plumbing, then I'm going to give you $3,000 when you've completed that particular task. Once you've completed the electrical, then you can get paid for the electrical. Once you've completed all the drywall, paint, and repairs, you can get the money for that. Additionally, if you need money for supplies, well, you can have a Home Depot credit card and you can pay for it yourself, or I'll get it for you and I'm not paying you any additional income because you went and got the supplies. I'll get it for you and I'll make sure that it's at the house or the property in which you have to conduct the repairs for. So that's personally how I handle new contractors that I haven't vetted. Like if I'm doing an over the phone contract, and I'll call you and I'll have my property manager or my realtor drive over to the property and check your work. Additionally, there's an appraiser that comes by before you can actually receive your draws, specific from the hard money lender, that will actually appraise the work that you have completed and ensure that it's correct. And typically it's either an appraiser or an inspector. Once they've inspected the work, then you'll receive the funds. That's how it works. That's how business works in flipping properties from long distance. Even if I did it here, hard money lenders here specifically ask that I complete the work first. Once I've completed the work first, I get a draw and then I pay the contractor. So if you're expecting to get paid from me, don't expect it. Expect to get paid from the bank. That's just how it works. Even if you managed a development or an apartment build, that would typically be how it worked. You would get paid by month. You would get paid at specific times for the type of labor or the type of work you did. And if you fell behind schedule, you would lose money. Additionally, one thing I like to roll into my contracts are if for every week that you finish, for every week that you've completed early, you will get an additional 1.5%. For every week that you're late, you'll lose 2.5%. So if you're late 2 weeks, you lose 5% of the total amount of money that I was expected to pay you. And so what I'll do is I'll break every single task down into specific bite-sized pieces. I'll pay you for each one of those tasks that you finish. If you finish it, a couple days early, then I'll take 1.5%. I'll multiply it by the amount by the amount we agreed on, and then I'll give you that. That just makes it easier for me to incentivize you actually get your work done faster, or penalize you for not doing your work at all, point blank period. So I'm very critical on timelines. I'm very critical on performance. I'm very critical on administrative tasks. I'm very critical on how I pay or compensate my contractors, just because I've been taken advantage of so many times before, and I just don't have time to deal with your bullshit. So that's just how I personally find contractors. Another way you can find contractors is really simple. If you're working with a property manager or a realtor that oversees a particular portion of your property, it's simple. Ask if they have a vendors list, borrow the vendors list, ask for it. If they give it to you, whoop-de-doo. If they don't, whatever. But ask if they have a vendors list or a preferred vendors list. Get a list of all of their preferred vendors and use those. The reason I don't like to use my property managers or realtors vendors is because if that relationship goes sour, well, then I potentially lose the vendors as well, or they lose their vendors. And I just don't like to commingle relationships like that. If something ever goes bad, I mean, you never know. So that's just how I do things. But this is typically how you would find contractors. Let's say that you're looking in Carbondale, Illinois. You need to make an account with Angie.com. Once you have an account, it's going to bring you to this little website here. It's going to give you, you're going to put your area that you're looking in. I just typed in renovation. Once I typed in renovation, it gave me a type of project. I said general repair, general renovation, and then these are the list of people that came up. And so I'll pick like 4 out of the 7 here that I'll have come over and give me bids. Once I've gotten bids on everything, then I will go from there. And that's pretty much how you would find a contractor, far away from you. It's really simple, really easy, not super difficult. It's kind of like finding a property manager. Obviously, look through the reviews, kind of get an understanding of what this business is like and what they offer, how they treat their clients, how they treat their customers. You are a client because you're hiring them. Their customers are people like that just own home and that are doing like 1 or 2 tasks. You're going to be long-term with them, so keep that in mind. Also, try to foster a joint venture with them. They potentially could be bringing you more deals later on down the line. So keep that in mind. These are relationships that you need to continuously foster. And just keep that in mind when you're doing business with these people, that they are a relationship. So aside from that, that's pretty much all I have today. Just kind of wanted to go over how I find contractors at a distance. This is one of the things that I'm doing to build my team. Once I have a property under contract, I'll send them over during my inspection period and kind of get them to do an inspection, tell them what I'm looking to do to this property, get their advice, you see what they say, and then move on. But that's it. Alrighty, guys. Talk to you later.